Welcome, critters! I'm Clara Jones, your devoted host of the Sacred Reading CR podcast, where we discuss and examine critical role episodes, plot lines, characters, and players through the lens of sacred reading practices. This particular episode is about Campaign 1, Episode 48, Part 2, I believe. And
Yep.
joining today is Atlas.
Hello.
So I've switched icebreaker lists, so hopefully this will change things up. The icebreaker that I found today is, what is your go-to comfort meal?
It's super, super basic, but homemade bread and homemade butter.
Wow. I mean, you can't really go wrong, honestly.
Yeah, like right out of the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're not supposed to cut bread when it's warm, it's just too good to resist.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that is, when in doubt, always my go-to.
Yeah, that's killer. That's such a good answer. I mean, like potatoes and butter, I think is a good
hmm
second, but definitely homemade bread and butter is always a solid.
Yeah, doesn't take much to make that so comforting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Since I've moved to Seattle, my go-to comfort meal has actually changed to pho.
Okay. That's also a good one.
I love me some pho, and I'm mostly vegetarian, so I get the veggie broth and the tofu, and it is just everything that I need in one dish. It is warm, it is spicy, it is salty, it is chewy, it is fresh with all of the fresh basil that you can put in there and the jalapeno. It's everything I could have possibly want.
It's a huge range and it's got a little bit of everything. So it's
Hmm.
a solid choice for sure.
And it warms the insides very nicely.
Also true.
hmm Now I'm thinking I might have to order some pho tonight. But you said bread and butter, and I was like, those are already things that I do have.
Yeah, but it's got to be good bread and good butter.
Yeah. I've been making myself rosemary loaves.
Oh, there you go.
hmm They've been killer.
That's very fair.
hmm
I am back on a sourdough kick, so been doing a version of sourdough, not the craziness that you see on social media, the actual functional version.
Have you tried sourdough like cookies? I've seen
hmm
those pop up. Like, does it just have that slightly sour kick to them?
Yeah, it's more of at least the ones I've made, more of an aftertaste than an actual like
Mm,
flavor.
okay.
It makes them less like cloyingly sweet as an aftertaste.
Okay.
So for
Yeah.
me, at least, that's the appeal.
That also makes them a lot more dangerous because then you're more inclined to eat more of them.
Also true. Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, I can eat 10 of these in a row. No problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, note to self, do not make sourdough cookies.
Or do, but make small batches.
Yes, make them and give most of them away.
There you go. That also works.
Well, please join us as we embark on this cookie adventure and story analysis and self-reflection in order to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. As always, we love hearing your own insights and stories as well, so please comment, like, subscribe below, and ready? All right, let's dive in. As we open this episode, Atlas, take it away.
All right. So we come back to the snow melting from the Garden of Statues, where the party notices writing around the bottom of an obelisk. Vex flies up to see if there are basilisks in the area, and Keyleth identifies the writing on the obelisk as an elvish phrase that translates to a name is earned. Below is a recessed carving of a triangle ish shape, more
Pyramid.
like an inverted pyramid. It's weirdly described. Vex does not see any basilisks from her vantage point above, but she does clock several large holes in the muddy ground. As she watches, several long lizard like creatures start to emerge from them, and the party rolls initiative. Vex remembers that they don't want to look at the basilisks and averts her gaze quickly. She hunters marks one of the basilisks and shoots with her blazing bowstring. Even with disadvantage, Vex manages to hit with both of her shots. Scanlan steps away from the basilisk nearest him and takes an attack of opportunity before using his wand of fireballs to hit 3 of the basilisks. He then turns to Pike and inspires her. Vax is the first to choose not to avert his gaze from the basilisk and shakes off the effects as he throws his 3 daggers. He hits twice, taking out the first of the basilisks. Percy stares one of the basilisks in the eye and shrugs off the effects easily. He hexes the creature and takes 3 shots, only managing to hit once. Grog averts his gaze and rages, but misses both swings. Keyleth wild shapes into a scorpion, which has blind sight, and hits with 2 of her 3 attacks. Pike sends a guiding bolt at one of the basilisks and hits thanks to Scanlan's bardic inspiration. One of the basilisks hits Scorpion Keyleth, and another misses Grog. Vex hits the basilisk closest to Grog with 2 shots and finishes it off. Or 2 shots. We're talking about Vex. Twin problems. Scanlan shoots a fireball down one of the burrow holes as a precaution and gets caught in the damage range of his own spell. It does manage to collapse the 2 tunnels closest to him. He spends the rest of his turn studying the obelisk, throwing a snowball into the triangular hole as a test. Vax throws his 3 daggers and takes out the last of the basilisks. Laura tries to roll a perception check for any more basilisks and rolls 2 natural ones. Grog, on the other hand, hears a distant echo that indicates there are likely more basilisks moving up through the remaining tunnels. Keyleth's scorpion form indicates that there are a few of them coming. She drops her wild shape and casts Wall of Stone over the area of holes to seal them in. They can hear the basilisks hitting the wall from beneath, and Keyleth urges the party to finish with the obelisk and move on before the basilisks break through. The party tries a few possible passwords based on the phrase on the obelisk before a basilisk breaks through the wall of stone. Scanlan encourages Grog to go play whack-a-mole, and Grog, who doesn't avert his gaze this time but succeeds in shrugging off the effects, manages to take out the basilisk in a single turn. Keyleth continues trying passwords at the obelisk, and Pike collects some of the basilisk blood, which she stores in Vex's cold storage bag. Grog tries putting his hand in the obelisk's hole, which doesn't do anything, but inspires Scanlan to try putting his Ioun Stone into the triangle. The obelisk begins to glow the same color as the Ioun Stone, and a matching glow appears on the mountainside in the distance. Keyleth casts Find the Path on the distant glow, and they have a direction to travel. Scanlan removes his Ioun Stone, and the glow fades, but they follow Keyleth's spell. They debate heading out immediately, but pause for a quick check of their surroundings. There's not much to the ruined building nearby, but Vax does find the petrified body of Tyriok the map maker with one of his arms broken off. Vax opts at first not to tell the rest of the party, but changes his mind and tells Pike. She remembers that to unpetrify a basilisk victim, they need to be covered in basilisk blood. She covers Tyriok's statue with some of the blood she gathered earlier, but it's been too long and has no effect. She casts Greater Restoration instead, which does unpetrify the map maker. His detached arm starts to bleed profusely, so she casts Cure Wounds. He is missing his hand, but is otherwise okay at this point. Unfortunately, the maps he was working on were held by the arm that broke off and are still stone. It appears that at least one of his 2 hired escorts also fell victim to the basilisks, so he asked to tag along with the party. They try to dissuade him, warning that it is a dangerous territory that they are headed into, and he opts to head toward the refugee camp instead. They finally bother to ask whether he has any knowledge of the direction they're heading, and then have to convince him to tag along for a bit. As they're discussing, he mentions a bunch of orcs in a particular direction, and the party quickly decides to detour for the sake of the refugee scouts they promised to help. While they are having this discussion, Vax slips away for a conversation with the Raven Queen, telling her that he needs more than nightmares and wants to understand. He is sent a vision of the Raven Queen's temple in Vasselheim and flashes of the interior, ending in a beckoning finger rising from a pool of blood. Vax rejoins the group, and we end the session with the party heading off in the direction of the orcs. And I really want to stop saying obelisk or basilisk ever again
Man,
because those are very difficult words.
I was thinking the entire time, I was like, I'm so glad I'm not doing this summary.
It's a struggle.
I'm
Between
so
that
glad.
and Map Maker, it was getting touch and go there for a second.
I was like, yes, it's working out in my favor. Um, I think this is a great example of the struggle that can be transitions
Mm,
sometimes.
fair point.
Um, we've been talking a lot about how they're finally back on track.
Hmm.
They've been distracted by a few things. They've been gathering information. They decided not to engage with the herd in Westrun, and they had conversations with the refugee camp, and all of these different things have been happening. But now they are officially back on track, and they don't know what to do with themselves.
uh, I think that's fair. I think it's also a lesson in using familiar NPCs to temper your players' choices.
Mm,
Of like, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and here's this NPC telling you, like, reiterating this quest line that you got last, before the break or last episode or whatever. Um, and taking the time as a DM to help your players pace
mm,
and help them make that transition in a better way.
yeah. Yeah, because change management is a thing.
Yes.
There's a reason why that term exists. Um, and even though some of them have vestiges now, do they have one? Do they have two? Do they have one? One?
One.
One.
I think we're still on one.
Even though one of them has a vestige right now, they are still they still need to work. They still need to earn the name.
Yeah.
Um, and I think they're just trying to get back into the groove of things. Like they had the upset that was finding the Raven's armor.
Hmm.
And then they were running around all over the place trying to find information, trying to find a direction. They found a direction, but then they got distracted by all these other little things, the trip to Pyra, the trip to Westrun, so on and so forth. And so now they're like, all right, let's get back on track. Let's get back on the vestige train. And Matt's like, all right, here's a dungeon crawl. And they're like, how do we do that again? Like, we forgot it.
Yeah. And I don't totally blame them. I think especially because Critical Role as a um show is so driven by plot,
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy to forget that it is a Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
campaign.
It's literally Dungeons and Dragons at this
Yeah.
particular point in the campaign.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to forget that the mechanics of the game do play into what is happening.
Yeah.
Um, and it, especially if they've had a long stretch of it really being plot heavy and plot focused, it is hard to transition back to the mechanics of the game for all of the players. I think Sam did it best here. And
Yeah.
I think he was really driving a lot of what was working with the combat and with the aftermath, encouraging people to check the surrounding areas. Like, hey, remember this is a thing you do in D&D? And having that one player who does fall into it easier helps the rest of them get back into it. But it is just something they haven't done in a while.
Yeah. And I think the roles also reflected that in the second
Mm,
half too. And so I think that's a great example of when the roles also match the players.
yeah,
Because I don't think we've had a dungeon crawl since the Raven's Tomb.
no. And that's not that far back, but it's far enough.
I mean, it's been what, 3 episodes? Four
Yeah,
episodes? Something like that?
we have longer stretches, to be fair. But yeah, it's not that long, it's not that far back. But also for that crawl, they had um
Zara
guest
and
players
Cash.
with them. Yes, Zara and Cash. I was trying to remember which ones were there. But they had, because they had guests, that puts them a little bit outside of their typical canon. It puts them on a different level.
Yeah.
Not for better or for worse, but it does put them in a different mindset.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of the first one they've had to do on their own in a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they even had a guest for the Pyra fight too.
Hmm.
So they've
Yeah,
had two big fights with guests in a row. And now they're on their own in the Frostweald. And so I think, like, the map maker does act as a guest of sorts in this
kind of.
context,
Yeah.
but he's way at the end
Hmm.
after the fight. He has nothing to do with the fight itself. Um, and they're still, yeah, I think they're just being like, how do we investigate things? How do we fight? Like,
Yeah.
we don't remember how to do any of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and trying to figure out the obelisk is an interesting puzzle because there's not a whole lot of clues.
Yeah.
There's not, it's not like they can really investigate a whole lot with the basilisks running around.
Hmm.
Um, and they, would have gotten to the point where they've killed all of the basilisks and have time to do some investigation, and maybe there would have been more clues to be found. But they are trying to figure it out with like bare bones, not much to go on. And frankly, I don't think I would have gotten there. Like, it's not that it's a difficult puzzle, it's that there's just not much to build on. So
Hmm.
between kind of not really knowing what they're trying to accomplish or how to do it, they're confronted with a puzzle, which is a nightmare, and not the most readily apparent. And I think Sam does save it a little bit by just going for it and happening to be right. I think he
Yeah.
just got lucky.
Yeah. And fireballs fix a lot of things.
Fireballs fix so many things. When in doubt, fireball.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's also interesting to see the character choices in the second half.
Hmm.
I'm particularly thinking of Vax's choice to not tell Pike about Tyriok to begin with.
Yeah. It's intriguing.
Yeah, especially coming off of the conversation with the Raven Queen, if you can call that a conversation.
Yeah.
Because I really want to dive into what was his thought process behind wanting to leave Tyriok behind initially.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't really get that one.
Yeah.
Like I know Vax is in a weird place and trying to figure out what is going on with his Raven Queen connection. I don't understand the impulse to recognize Tyriok and walk away.
I think it boils down to the impulse word that you just used,
Hmm.
because I think it's a perfect example of Vax's impulsiveness, for
Yeah.
better or for worse.
I think it's also an interesting reflection on the way Liam plays.
Hmm.
He has a tendency to keep things to himself.
Mm.
even when they happen above table and happen in front of the entire group, he likes to hold on to secrets until they are a story beat and not
Mm,
just immediately act upon them, which is interesting. But in this instance, I don't know how that would have worked out purely because it is an area they are leaving and don't intend to return to possibly ever.
hmm.
So it makes sense when it is something he can hold on to and bring out later. But between his storytelling style and the impulse, I don't really know where this was going to end up if he doesn't choose to backtrack that choice.
Yeah.
I just don't see where it would build into a better story, which is usually what Liam holds on to things for.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Kynan situation
Mm,
of knocking the boy out to show him a lesson. And it also
yeah.
reminds me of the Briarwood conflict at the castle in Amman of Vax running into something based on a preconceived judgment that he's already made and not communicated to anyone.
Yeah. I think for me, the difference between this and those two is I can actually genuinely kind of see trying to show Kynan how outmatched he is.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think he goes about it right, but I can understand where that logic is coming from.
Hmm.
The Briarwood fight, I can understand that he thinks he's sneaky enough to get away with it, but
Hmm.
also that everybody else is close enough to jump in. He's not taking the story away from other people in that point. This one, I don't get.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it has to do something with like this theme of death that he's grappling with. Like,
Yeah.
we know that Liam's going through stuff in his life right now, as
Mm-hmm.
well as a player. And Vax is grappling with this whole, champion of the goddess of death situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if he's blindly accepting the presence of death more so than he had been in the past.
Could be. And I also wonder if that's why he chooses to trigger that conversation with the Raven Queen
Hmm.
after they do save Tyriok, because I wonder if that's him trying to clarify what this champion of the Raven Queen bit actually means.
I mean, I'd want to read the fine print.
Yes. And there is a lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of it.
Yeah. So maybe the
Um,
two are tied together and that's where it comes in. I just that's a that first impulse is one that always slightly baffles me about this.
yeah, yeah. And I think it baffles everyone else too at the table.
Yeah. I don't I don't know that there's a better way to put it. It's just confusing for everybody.
I think they're just confused in general during the second half. Like, I think both as characters and players, like, Marisha
Yeah.
struggles a lot in the second half,
Yes.
primarily with game mechanics. Um, but they all struggle on a certain level too. Because,
Yeah.
like, is it Vex that gets the two natural ones? Someone gets two natural
Mm-hmm.
ones.
Yeah, that's Laura.
Um, and they're unable to solve the riddle of this obelisk. And
Yeah.
like, even though I think they're even more confused and frustrated because they've faced these basilisks before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when they realized at the end of the first half that they were facing basilisks that they had faced before, they may have had some preconceived notions as to like, oh, well, we can handle this easily.
Yeah. And to be fair, they kind of do. A lot of these
Yeah.
basilisks are taken out in one turn or one round. There's not a whole lot of damage that the basilisks do, and they don't petrify anybody,
Yeah.
which is a huge step up, we gather, from the last time that they faced these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's very common for people in general when they're faced with a problem that they've faced before to get frustrated by that problem even existing.
That is fair, and also I feel a little called out right now.
Well, I mean, like I've absolutely been there before. Um, like I call it the spring thing of like you meet the
Mhm.
same problem over and over again, just at a slightly different level.
Yeah.
And when you get to again, you're like, I thought this was over. I thought I didn't have to deal with this anymore. And you're like, God damn basilisks.
Yeah. No, it's at times a little bit of a difficult second half to watch because they are struggling so bad.
Yeah,
Um, and some of it is just communication issues, some of it is dice
absolutely.
rolls,
Yeah.
some of it is just like they just needed a longer break or something. Like they needed 5 minutes to get themselves together.
I don't know what they needed, honestly. Um, I mean, I honestly think that this is what they needed
Yeah.
is a little bit of, I don't know if we can call it a reality check or not, of being like, yes, you're still in a Dungeons and Dragons game.
Maybe not a reality check so much as a recalibration.
Yes. Yes, yes, because they did have a lot of trouble with the mechanics in the second half.
Yeah.
Like, even though they had faced these basilisks, these literal basilisks before, they were like, wait, we have to look away. Wait, we have to close our eyes. Wait, I get disadvantage. What do you mean?
Yeah, and some of that was also on Matt. Like Keyleth did choose a form that gave her blind sight. And like Matt's own confusion with how that played into the advantage disadvantage situation did not help the players' frustration and confusion.
Absolutely.
It was across the board a little bit rough, and there wasn't the same level of familiarity with the rules that we see today.
Yeah.
Um, and it's it doesn't make it less fun to watch necessarily, in that it's still a fun game. They're still doing combat, but it is slightly frustrating. Um, but they also make a couple comments of like, we're already getting the tweets. We're already going to hear about this later. But they're doing it in a way where it's a communal joke amongst them. It is
Mm.
something that they're bonding over, and it gives the cast a little bit of a breath
Hmm.
of like, yes, this is going poorly. It's frustrating, but also like it's a bonding moment. It is something for them to joke about and to laugh about, and it is still a fun moment, even
Yeah.
as it is frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's the moral of the story to walk away with
Mm-hmm.
here. Um, Thinking about personal experiences, I've been having a lot of frustration and like revisiting old problems with my physical health lately.
Yeah.
Um, I've mentioned this to you before, but my blood pressure is higher than it should be. And I've never been one to have blood pressure issues. And so, like, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it's popping up is frustrating. But then I went to the doctor's for a follow-up appointment this week and I got some blood drawn. But before they even drew the blood, I fainted in the
Oh, all
phlebotomist's
right.
office just because she poked my arm and couldn't find a vein. And so she was going to move to the back of my hand. And I was like, hold up, I'm feeling dizzy. And I proceeded to just pass out in her office. And I woke up very disoriented to 8 people staring at me.
Yeah, that would do it.
And that has happened once to me before, but it was like 10 years ago where that happened. And so again, it was the like, I've faced this basilisk before kind of scenario, and I feel like I should have been better equipped to handle the situation. Um, and I felt like I rolled a natural one in my constitution save.
Yeah. And there's something about having the distance from it that makes it so much worse to have to deal with again.
Yeah, I was like, it's literally been 10 years since this has happened where I either don't eat enough or drink enough before I go to the
Mhm.
doctor and get my blood drawn, and that causes me to then pass out. And it was the same exact scenario where they tried to find a vein, couldn't find a vein, went to the back of my hand, like the same exact scenario. And I was like, why is this happening again?
Uh, yeah. And then there's the whole like, I thought we learned this lesson the first
Oh
time.
my God, right?
Yeah.
Like I specifically drank a protein drink before my doctor's appointment because I knew that this might happen, and yet it still didn't help.
Yeah.
And they were like all fussing over me, and I was like, please don't fuss. This, like, just ignore that this happened. Don't look at me. And they were like, this
Uh,
is literally our job.
yes, but I do not wish to be observed. Thank
I
you.
know. I was like not making eye contact with anyone. They were like feeding me crackers, and I was like, no. I was like, get away from me. I'm fine. I'm sweating and I'm dizzy, but I'm fine.
Uh, yeah. Oh,
Do you have any
I
personal
think
experiences?
for me, the personal experience that this brings up is the side quests are okay situation.
Mm,
Like it is a marathon, not a sprint. And go do something that is easy and you can check off your to-do list.
mm,
And it is super low stakes. But an example, been trying to like deep clean my apartment for like a month because
mm,
New Year, refresh the apartment also so that I can find spots to put everything. Um, but I at a certain point had to make a list and was just like check off the easy bits so you feel like you've accomplished something.
yeah.
I reorganized my shoes
Yeah.
and like it was so dumb and it was really just like putting things in slightly different spaces, like 3 inches to the left.
Yeah.
But it was something I could check off my list and be done with. And so little side quests are actually better for your productivity than trying to marathon something that's not working.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, hey, if you need to go fight some orcs just to check it off the list, go fight some orcs.
Yeah. 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 I've been desperately needing to deep clean my apartment as well. And I managed to do my kitchen and that's it.
Yeah, I got new pots and pans for Christmas, which is great, but also they don't fit in my kitchen cabinets.
Mm,
So I am on reorganization number 3 of my kitchen. And so that was not on the easy box list.
yeah.
So we went to the
What are you
huge.
doing with your old ones? Because I'm in the same exact scenario and they're literally just sitting in a pile.
I took them to a thrift store eventually because they were just sitting in the middle of my apartment. And I was just like, they're not in great shape. I'm not going to sell them.
Yeah.
So I donated them to a nonprofit and was like, okay, have fun.
Yeah.
They can,
Yeah. My
they can
problem is
go
that
to,
I don't have a car, so I have to like truck them on public transportation if I want to take them anywhere.
yeah, doesn't make it more difficult for sure.
Yeah. Like, what am
Yeah.
I gonna show up on the bus with a box full of pots?
Won't be the weirdest thing people have seen on the bus for sure.
Yeah. So for now, they're just in a corner.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of storage space, so they were in the middle of my like main walkway for a very long time, and I finally just got so mad at
Yeah. Yeah. They are sitting under the chair that I've been needing to get rid of too.
them. That's a harder one, honestly.
Yeah, because Goodwill wouldn't accept the chair.
Of course not.
So I now have a chair that I don't know what to do.
Uh, yeah.
So the chair and the pots are having corner time.
That's what corners are for. All the things we don't want to have to deal with or see.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And in terms of personal experiences too, like the whole Vax deciding initially not to help Tyriok, Also, just reminds me of a lot of our current events that are going on at the moment.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, I think it's very easy for us to be like, I don't know what Vax's motivations are. We've already discussed this, but it's very easy for us to be like, I don't have the bandwidth to deal with this problem.
Mm,
I may be considered a bad person because I'm not offering to help in this situation, but it's also valid to say I don't have the bandwidth to deal with this situation right now.
yeah.
There's a lot of hard moral decisions being made at the moment.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, like side quests are okay in real life. Like pick something you can do, can
Yeah,
make a change with, and it makes the bigger change that needs to happen easier to handle in the long run.
yeah,
So do your own side quests. They're good for
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. And take care of yourself along the way
Yes.
too.
All of
Um,
the above.
I think that's the biggest lesson that I'm taking away from my physical health stuff that I'm dealing with at the moment because as I've established on this podcast before, I spent a lot of the last 2 years working way too much
Hmm.
and ignoring my bodily needs as a result. And so last night I kind of had to come to terms with the fact that this is a reminder for myself, I guess segueing into what are we going to do about it, to pay attention to my bodily needs. Even if it's as simple as like, soaking my feet in Epsom salt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of just powering through and gritting through the scenario and being like, oh, I don't need these small habits to take care of myself. Like, I'm
Mm.
fine overall, because I am fine overall. But at the same time, my blood pressure may go down if I just take care of myself more.
It's amazing how much that actually does for you, both physically and mentally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I now have a reminder in my calendar the hour before I go to bed every day for self-care. Whatever shape that takes, I don't really care.
Very valid.
Like last night, it was soaking my feet in Epsom salt. Maybe another night, it's going to be a facial mask. Maybe another
Yeah.
night, it's going to be, doing a foam roller situation on my back. Whatever that means. Maybe it's just lying on the floor and staring into nothing.
Honestly, so cathartic.
Yeah. Blanket burritos solve a lot of problems.
Floor time is important.
There
Yes.
have been literal studies done on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't read them, but I believe them.
Yeah. It was just, I read something along the way of like laying on the floor makes life feel less overwhelming.
Yeah. It genuinely does, just anecdotally.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 would lie on the floor again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, what we're being called to do is um slow down when it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Um, and you brought up current events. I'm going to bring them up again. It's a marathon, guys.
Woohoo!
Um, this whole situation, everything that is happening is a marathon. And it's okay to breathe, take 5 seconds, and come back to it when you have more capacity to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, take a side quest, take a break, take floor time,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do. Go talk to the Raven Queen and all of her creepy visions.
Yeah.
Like,
Go bathe in a pool of blood.
yeah, give yourself 5 minutes to deal with the things you need to deal with and then deal with the wider world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is easier said than done, but the only way that we're going to make it through all of the current events that are current eventing.
Yeah. Yeah. I came across a video the other day of someone who's doing a medical internship right now. And he was
Mm,
saying that he honestly feels blessed to be so busy because he doesn't have the luxury to even get caught in doom scrolling.
Yeah. I mean, I picked up two different volunteer jobs in the past month because it's like if I'm doing things, I'm not doom scrolling. Um, and it has helped a lot, and I consider them my side quests. But it is way better to be busy with something that feels like it matters
Yeah.
than to be just trying to make it through.
Yeah. And I think the something that feels like it matters is an important piece to that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And it doesn't have to be like matter to your community. It can be taking up a new hobby, taking up something that makes you feel better.
mhm.
Like if you want to take up running or knitting or something that makes you feel useful, that counts.
I've seen so many videos from like therapists and stuff who are like, our bodies were not meant to deal with this.
Hmm.
Like, our nervous systems are so dysregulated right now across the board. Like, even my doctor was saying that. Like, she is like,
Yeah.
if anyone comes in here and tells me that they're not anxious, I am concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of the general state of the world at this point.
Man, the I'm in Seattle and the Seahawks won their game on Sunday, so now they're in the Super Bowl and I had no clue what was going on and a bunch of fireworks erupted outside my door
Mm.
after they won and there was like extended explosions going on and on and on. And I sat there and I was like, ah! I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I the Broncos lost their game, but I have no doubt it would have been the same here. As it was, people still pulled some of that. I think it was just to blow off steam.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they
Yeah.
had them. Might as well use them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But also like was not a surprise that they lost.
Yeah, well.
So,
But that's what living with an overactive amygdala is like.
hmm.
Like
Yeah.
my brain immediately went like, ah! It
Yeah.
was like, why are there unknown explosions happening out there?
It is stressful and unpleasant.
And it
Um,
took me a
but
minute to be like, okay, I should Google this
yes. Yeah.
and actually get the facts of the situation instead of just letting my amygdala response take over.
Yeah. And that's another thing that is easier said than done a lot of times,
Oh man.
but
Yeah,
can save
I
you
mean,
a lot of stress in the long
it took me a hot minute to be like, okay, pull out my phone, Seattle news.
run.
What is going on in Seattle right now?
Yeah. Because there's also that fear in the back of your mind that, oh, this is another thing I'm going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
And Googling is going to make it real. Google it.
I literally had a dream this morning that my house was surrounded by ICE officers and they literally choked me.
Yeah.
Like that, it's in my mind.
Yeah. It's for me, I've just decided when in doubt, Google it because it's better to know than to be in this limbo situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But it also was a few conversations with my therapist of how do I actually deal with the level of anxiety that this induces. And it's simple things like, there was a major storm and listening to the hail set it off, or,
Hmm.
the transformer blew down the, road from my house and, that was panic. So, it's simple everyday things that have happened forever that now feel like they could be something.
A
So,
tiger in the
yeah,
bushes.
yeah. But my therapist's recommendation was if limbo is going to freak you out, Google it. Better to know either way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had a whole moment this morning when I woke up where I went through this whole like anxiety spiral of like what would happen to my dog if I was taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I had to create a whole like what I would do plan. And I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
not how I want to wake up.
No, it's not a good time.
No, especially when you're half asleep, man.
Yeah.
But take care of yourself if you can.
Yeah.
I think this discussion has convinced me to order pho.
Mm, that's solid. Yeah.
Maybe lay on the floor while the pho travels to my house.
Yeah, I'm thinking floor time sounds fantastic.
Yeah, we're now, what, 2 episodes into ending with floor time, and I'm okay with
Something
that.
like that. Hey, floor time's never a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah. And I bathed my dog this week, so she is nice and fluffy and soft, so I can also just bury my face in her while I'm having
Even
floor time.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Hmm. Yeah. I think we've unanimously voted for floor time. You get the benefit of the dog. I'm just gonna do floor time.
Yeah, well, I
But it'll
mean,
be good anyway.
would your Molly coat be comforting to press your face into?
Possibly, but also there's so much stuff on that I don't know that it would be comfortable.
Yeah. I will also clarify that I mean Molly Mock, not the drug.
That is an important clarification. Thank you. Yes.
It
My
is a
Molly
Critical
Mock
Role
coat is
character that we have not yet
fantastic.
discussed on this podcast,
Uh, yeah.
in
No.
case anyone is wondering.
Uh, yeah. No. It's I think it's got a few too many things to be comfortable to do that with.
Okay.
Because I didn't just do embroidery, I also did a whole bunch of charms and things.
Gotcha.
But I do have soft, fluffy pillows, which will
Mm,
substitute for a dog.
yeah, those are always solid choice.
Yeah.
hmm Well, I feel like we need to wrap it up before it gets even more depressing.
Probably a solid choice at this point.
Per usual, this feels like a therapy session in itself and justifies my excuse for not paying for therapy. I told my doctor that I was like, I have enough friends in my community that are more or less informed at this point in time. It's, I feel relatively supported in the therapeutic areas.
Yeah.
Well, this is powerful stuff that we're talking about. And audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own thoughts and experiences and feelings with us as well. I know everyone is coping in their own ways. So if Critical Role is one of your main coping mechanisms, join the club. I have now started my probably like sixth or seventh, I've lost count at this point, rewatch of Campaign 2.
Yep.
It is definitely a comfort show for me at this point. If we're talking about comfort food, comfort shows is definitely Mighty Nine, Campaign 2.
Yep. Mighty Nine is up there on my list of comfort shows as well, and I am also doing a rewatch, but I think it's only my third.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm on like 6 at this point. But who's keeping count? Because I sure am not. Special
I've
K.
lost track of the number of times I've watched campaign one, so nah.
Yeah, yeah, well. Special thanks, Alice, for joining me in this nerddom. It's been
Always
fun.
happy to be here.
Next time, we'll be discussing Campaign 1, Episode 49, Part 1, and joining me will be Petal, so I'm excited for that. As always, I'm looking for more nerds, so if you want to come on and nerd out in the nerd, let me know. In the meantime, please comment, like, subscribe below, follow us on Tumblr at Sacred Reading CR for all the juicy updates, and I promise I'll update it soon. Don't know when that'll be. There are lots of sirens going on outside, and I'm going to ignore that. Until
Valid.
next time, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be free, and be the cat of good you wish to see in the world. Take care, guys.
Bye.